Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's Alicia Brashay here at Cosmic Gateway. And I know it's been a little bit since I have recorded a video, so I thought I would take this opportunity now that we have entered into April to sit down and do couple of things. So it might be a bit of a long recording. First of all, I want to recap over the last couple of months, especially February, March, and what has led us into where we are right now in April. So a bit of an energy overview and recap. I also want to do a guided process based on some of the observations that I've seen throughout these last couple of months, and then finish off with some intuitive guidance, insights, and have a bit of fun. So I know that the last couple of months have been quite heavy, quite challenging. And I think for very good reason, and that's what I want to come on and share a little bit of what I've been witnessing, experiencing, and observing through many other people's experiences as well. So if we recap and we go back to the beginning of the beginning of February is where I feel like this whole process sort of started to unravel and has brought us to here. Um, so around the beginning of February, sort of late January into February, there was a lot of high energy. There was a lot of um, what can I call it? Energy of soul integration that was representing our individual highest potential timelines that is in the process of embodying and unfolding throughout for this year, for 2023, and also beyond that. So it feels quite monumental. And that energy came through with a couple of observations that I witnessed. One was there was this sense of finality. There was a sense of wrap up, a conclusion, if you will, and there was a very big air of excitement of what that means and what's to come. And I kind of laugh as I say that because often when we get these big downloads and insights, quite often there is so much energy and excitement that it's hard for our physical body to hold all that frequency. And it's almost like a testing phase to help prepare us to be able to access and embody or hold that frequency at a more permanent baseline level. And so what happens is when we're able to embody that frequency, our our cells change, our energy field changes, and of course, thus our physical reality changes as well. So yes, there was all this. Um, I I can share a little bit of how that came to me. Around that time, there was a lot of really vibrant energy that was very easy to access a lot of information and to have a lot of higher dimensional experiences. And I went with a friend of mine, and we were driving down towards the beach. Um, and as we were approaching the beach, I said to my friend, I was like, "Oh my goodness!" All of a sudden, I felt as though I was, well, what I would call bilocating. I knew that I was in two places at once, and it became very. The closer we got to the beach, the more real and tangible that became. And I was aware that I was on a ship, um, and I was surrounded by many other beings, and the general sense that I got was that I was aware of some of those beings and who they represent down here on Earth. So we call them their space avatars. But their signature and energy was very, very familiar to me. And what was being communicated at that time was that we had completed a massive cycle. We had completed a massive mission that we had been working many, many years for. And there was this, not only this air of excitement and celebration, but it was also, there was a high reverence for those of us who are boots on the ground. Um, I think beings that aren't here, who are overseeing, who are watching and witnessing this great shift unfolding, they have a lot of reverence for us. They have a lot of, they hold us in a very high esteem because they are aware of how challenging it is down here, and the densities that we have to weave through to be able to accomplish what we come here for. And from that experience, I went through many days of holding this very, very high frequency. And I noticed, because every time I would interact with someone who wasn't in that frequency, they were staring at me. They were looking at me weird, because from what people had shared with me, or the reflection that I was getting back, was that I was kind of illuminating this frequency. And so, of course, that's the place where we want to be, right? We want to be in those higher frequencies. So that happened. And then something else very interesting occurred. And that was things that I had been told in the beginning of my journey, at the end of 2015, 2016, when everything sort of unraveled and began for me. I was told that some very specific people would come into my life, and that it would be the beginning of um, some projects that I would be working on. And back then, it was a very pie in the sky information and download. It was very much, wow, that sounds fantastical, and I can't wait, but I have no idea how something of that caliber would actually eventuate. And sure enough, as it was told, those things came into physical manifestation. So once again, you know, that just rings true to when we're holding that frequency, things come into our resonance, things come into alignment that are meant to be on our path. So from that moment, I remember very clearly being in that energy and being in awe of what was taking place. And to summarize it, I feel like a lot of us have been getting this intel around all the things that we were shown in the beginning of our awakening journey, when we were on the upswing in that high frequency after an activation of some sort, is actually playing out this year. The good, the bad, the ugly. And of course, all of it is unraveling, as we can see, on a global level. So from that moment on, I remember feeling almost as though it was the feeling as though that energy was so high that I knew I couldn't hold or sustain it. And it was very conscious. I knew that I was like, oh, my body actually can't, because I can't sustain this frequency at a baseline level. And within a few hours, I clocked in my head and I thought, oh, I haven't gone through a purge phase for a while. And of course, I've noticed the patterns within myself that often, if that thought comes in, I know in a very short space of time, away I go. And so I've kind of been weaving through this kind of unraveling process since then, and slowly starting to come out and stabilize now as we've hit into April. And the reason that I'm sharing this is I know that that has been very similar to what a lot of other people have been going through. So I'm hoping that by me sharing my experiences, it might clock some aha moments in things that you've gone through, perhaps in different ways, but very similar sort of context. So as we moved into, I'll run through how I understood February and March, and then I'll run through the insights that I've gained for April and moving on. So February was about bringing in that frequency, having access to that, what I would call the soul blueprint energy, the original soul blueprint energy was available and started to come online. what does that mean? I'm sure a lot of people say, what does that mean? For me, what that means is the access to the energy of what we are truly here to embody and experience and to do in this lifetime, our highest potential. That can look as our work, our relationships, our well-being, our abundance, and ultimately being in service to humanity in some way, whether that's just sharing a frequency, or if that is doing something tangible or creative or artistic, whatever that might mean for you. But it's having the access to the purity of the original aspect of our soul. So also that can mean having access to our abilities, things that we've mastered over many lifetimes, to fully gain access so that we can work in those modalities or in those ways, whatever that looks like, right? So having access to that, I was aware of a lot of, and I also saw this through many, many sessions. Um, it was almost like a new electrical golden energy grid system came online, or it started to, I'll say started to come online. And I think that what is happening with individuals, or some individuals going through this process, is it is running in a very symbiotic relationship with the planet. So also I was seeing, and I think a lot of us saw similar, a lot of gold new grid systems coming online around the planet, the high dimensional grid systems starting to take shape. And I think that's still a process that's in unraveling, unfolding, in progress. That's the word I'm looking for. It's a process that's still in progress, because I've noticed, especially in the last few days, having a lot of what I call mission dreams, where I'll be working with energies, working in bringing in frequencies into very specific pockets of the planet. Funnily enough, I'm just going to share this because it might mean I haven't decoded it. I don't understand it, but it might mean something to someone else. The theme of the last few days has been bringing in new frequencies into specific parts, including islands. So things like Tahiti has dropped in. Fiji was another one a few nights ago, and then last night was in the Caribbean. So it was Jamaica and was it Anguilla? There was a couple of other small islands, and I have no personal connection to any of those places, so I find it really interesting when things like that crop up. But basically in dream space, been working with bringing in energy into node points or grid points, and then that energy spreads and connects. So it's this interweaving process of lighting up the grid system. So that's happening on the planet, and that's happening within our energy field. So then the breakdown comes. The testing phase, going back to what I was saying about the testing phase, when we are given access to energy coming online, we go through a testing phase and an unraveling phase, or a breaking down phase of things that may be still held within our mental body, our emotional body, our physical body, especially physical bodies, a big one. That's not in resonance of that. Whatever we're holding, starts to break down, disintegrate, unravel. So there was a big unraveling process. This was, and it was closing off many, many timelines. Throughout the month of February was a very scattered time. I was joking with some people, and I said, there were pockets and periods of February where I feel like I didn't even know my own name. Like it was very much being aware of the multidimensionality, this kind of zigzagging and weaving process of closing down old timelines, very, very ancient ones, and then also weaving into this theme of going into new earth and connecting them. So it was almost weaving this web that was tying off and then rejoining. Some of the things that I witnessed through that was there was a lot of interference. There was a lot of this very dark, heavy, confronting energy. And working with going back to the origin. So obviously, if we're bringing in our original coding and frequency and blueprint, then we're probably going to have to address some of our origins of our greatest traumas and wounds. And that was certainly the case. You know, I was taken back. There was a big theme around Orion Wars and things that occurred on a more galactic level for me. And I think a lot of people experience that. But it was looking at, I in particular notice a frequency which I call interference. And I know that it comes through many pathways, through many people, through circumstances, situations. And I feel like it's an energy that has been present my whole life, or lives, probably greater than this one. And it feels like every time something is about to manifest or come into fruition, it's like that energy will come in and distract or destroy or blow up. And in February, I just got sick of it. It was just so loud and in my face that I couldn't not address it. And that was a big process of looking at being able to trace back where it began. Where did this original energy present itself on my own personal timeline? And I know we're dealing with energy that's much greater than our own personal timeline. I think this is a collective experience that is shared, and we experience it in our own individual ways. So I kind of traced it all the way back to a circumstance that occurred where I was actually, doing like it was a battle, and I had to, take it to put it in very descriptive words or to be very specific. There was a battle where I had taken something that was really precious to someone else, and how it was shown to me and described to me was that in retaliation, I was wounded. I acted out of retaliation, and therefore that was still playing in this repetitive looping cycle to kind of, in essence, destroy. That's one perspective. That's one way of looking at it. I also see it as something that has assisted me in growing in resilience, because every time it's happened, I've had to step more into my personal power. And that's coming into the energies of April, which is very much about handing back and stepping back into our power. So for February, I call it the breakdown and rebuild, and very much more on a multi-dimensional level, and tying up loose ends. So then as we moved into March, March felt like it was a very different energy. February was very fast paced, like so many things happening at once. It was very hard to keep up and process and track everything that was happening, because it was like a billion things all happening at once in the multi-dimensionality field. Whereas in this reality, it was just feeling and witnessing and seeing all of that happen. So once sort of March entered, it was a slower pace. It was a heavier pace. It was almost like being dropped into quicksand or mud. And it was the feeling of overwhelm, like it's all too much. I think I heard a lot of people describe that energy as being very desolate, and I can definitely attest to that. It was feeling a lot of feeling of like, this density is too much. I don't want to be here anymore. Like I've had enough. Get me off this planet somehow. And it was also very confusing energy mentally. And I've noticed also that there's been a lot of engagement of it's like the collective mental body or mental energy had a real shake up. And I feel that that's part of this process that we're moving through, of this breakdown and rebuild. Mental energy I associate with a more masculine energy. It's more to do with our linear way of processing or trying to operate. It's more to do with the mental mind, the mental body, and our connected. I see the mental body connected to the solar plexus. So our personal power, our confidence, our masculinity, and our drive, our will. So there's been a real theme around breaking down our own masculine energy template to rebuild it. Obviously, I feel that that's very much a collective process too. And with some of the astrological transits that we've gone through in March, I think that's quite indicative of breaking down a lot of these old structures, these old paradigms that is very masculine or old masculine template. And I know for many, many years, always around this time, I've always tuned into feeling a sense of death and rebirth, especially around Easter and April in particular, and recognizing that or aligning that with a new masculine energy being rebirthed and coming online for all of us. So that's not gender specific, that's within all of us and collectively. So I did many sessions around that period of time that indicated that there would be a shift or a change occurring around Easter. So that's why I wanted to present this video and get it out. What else can I say about March? March was a big blur. There was a lot of fatigue, a lot of exhaustion. I think it was physically trying to catch up with all the energetics that was processed throughout February. So there's a real sort of integration, bit by bit process that has been occurring. Yeah, just a lot of sleep, a lot of rest, a lot of kind of doing the bare minimum. Or just doing minimalistic stuff to be able to conserve our energy. I think there was one expression that came through, was like a soul fatigue. It was like, and I know a lot of people have tuned into that soul fatigue of like, we have been at these precipice moments ongoing, and then going through these deep dives and these cyclical patterns and cycles that playing out over and over again of just, I'm exhausted. I'm, exhausted on all levels. And so throughout March, I was sort of intuitively guided to just lay low. And you probably would have noticed I have not been on social media barely at all. It's just this kind of overwhelm. And it was like going out on social media already in a vulnerable state was just too much. And so just honoring what you're going through in every moment, and that was kind of being brought back to bare minimum. But on the flip side of that, I did notice that throughout, when was it? I would say throughout, and it's still occurring, dreams have been utterly profound, so incredibly vivid. And often when we get sort of, as I was saying, like dropped into that quicksand type of energy, and that very slow movement energy in this physical realm, often there's a lot that's occurring within our dream space, and there's a lot of operations that are happening behind the scene. And as we slow down here, our soul, our astral aspects become quite busy. So there's a lot of busyness, a lot of things happening. And I noticed the contrast was probably adding a lot to this feeling of density. So new earth dreams, I haven't had so many new earth dreams for a consistent period of time in years. And some of the highlights that I can share with you, was a lot of preparation in attuning myself and attuning many others to new earth frequencies from the heart. And that's where I feel like we're moving into this month. Um, One night in particular, I felt that there was like a new earth kind of geometrical representation in my heart that was emanating. And I was just in the dream, I was just going to so many people throughout the night and just attuning them to this frequency. And it was incredibly beautiful. Um, I've had a lot of recurring dreams that are talking about being cleared out of final toxins that are eons old so that the body can prepare to enter into. So I'm just reading from some notes because so many things have transpired that I thought I have to write some of this down. Um, so where was I? Being cleared out of final toxins so that the body can prepare to enter into the in-between stage between the in-between stage of new earth. And I'll clarify what I mean by that because that's a terminology that was given to me a couple of years ago in the middle of a session that I was having done personally and what I saw. So this in-between stage or phase is it's kind of like learning to walk and talk and function again in a new frequency bandwidth. It's not completely in the new earth as I understand it, but it's a place where we can test out our new abilities like manifestation or telepathy or healing techniques and abilities. It's a place where we become more accustomed and more familiar with working um, in a space that will prep us to move into the new earth. Well, what I was shown, this is going back many years ago, around this in between phase. So I feel like we've hit that and we've entered into that now. That would open up for a period of time that we could have the option of staying in that space, in that energetic space, for a number of years if we choose to. And this is really an individual, very much on an individual basis, as how long we're in this attunement preparatory in between phase. And I think that this phase is going to bring forth a lot more mm, new teachings, new learnings, new skill sets. It's almost like before I sat down to do this recording earlier this morning, I was being shown this like wipe the slate clean of everything that we have experienced up until this point. It's almost like disregard it all, but it's not, you know, I don't want to say that. It's probably not the right wording, but it's almost like embodying that so we can take what worked with us, but it's preparing us to receive new insights, new ways of operating and being. So that is very, I guess that has two components to it. That is very, very exciting. But also it's a very confusing time. And I've heard that from numerous people of just this lack of clarity, this borderline anxiety or fear of, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm meant to be doing. I have an understanding of my ultimate goal and destiny, but I don't know the steps of how to get there. And everything that I'm trying is not working. And I can completely relate to that. I feel like I've been at that place many, many times. And I've certainly felt the energy of that creep in, especially over the last few weeks. And what I've learned to navigate through that is to, first of all, honor what you're feeling, because that's very real and valid. But secondly, it's allowing yourself to connect with that greater part of you, the higher aspect of you, higher self, and just sit in the stillness of being in that presence of that energy. And when you can feel your energy and vibration shift, just sit in that space of allowing. So instead of acting and trying to make things happen, be in a state of receptivity and allowing. And I have practiced this many times recently, and it's been quite incredible how instantly things can just drop in. So it's finding those moments of stillness, of feeling in your alignment, feeling in your bliss or joy, even if it's momentarily. And it's while in that space, expressing, whether it's mentally or out loud or written down, it's kind of a request or a dialogue, um, a collaboration with the higher self of saying, okay, I'm ready for my next, bring it to me, and whatever that may entail for you, whether it's clarity, whether it's financial abundance, whether it's better health, you know, next steps in your pathway, whatever that may be. And just being in the presence of that, already in materialization, um, and just holding into or feeling into that, and then letting it go, and just knowing that it's already in your energy field, and then just allowing it to be able to mm, align align with you. And that's not to say not to be not taking any action. Of course, we always have to be the co-creators with our higher self and the universe. So it's, once you've done that, you may get then prompted guidance to go and do a few things. So it's like meeting the universe halfway, and then just allowing that there's that theme of co-creation. Actually, when I was playing around with the cards before I sat down to do this video, that was like the first card that jumped out as I was just seeing if those cards wanted to come out and play today. So it was the co-creation. So that might be a message for everyone, the co-creation card of over the next couple of months, many collaborations coming into fruition, and just knowing that that is in alignment with your higher self and those people, and that that is something that is wanting to be expressed into the world, and to know that you have the means, and that you also have the expertise to bring it to life. So sorry, I've just gone off on a complete tangent, but yeah, so just allowing that expression to come through. I've completely gone off. I'm just going to go back over my notes just to um, yeah, I think I've covered all that. Yep. Oh, dream space. Yeah, well, I've covered the new earth, dream space. I've also had a lot of themes about a lot of uh, financial abundance coming through. That's been a repetitive theme. Um, that there is a timeline opening up for greater access to abundance for many. Um, so working in dream space to open up the actuality of future timelines being offered to us. Going, so yeah, that process of tying off timelines is still kind of in flux. I notice that I've been dreaming about people, so many people who have been influential in my life that are no longer a part of my life. So this is going back like 20 plus years ago. And dreaming about people from like primary school. So that's come around as a theme again. Um, okay, breaking out of time loops. That's okay, cool. All right, I do have a couple more things on my list just to quickly go over. Breaking out of time loops. That I was having a conversation one day with a friend of mine, and we were talking about many things around timeline and time loops. And you can know, I don't know, maybe this is just an Alisha thing, but I notice that when I'm in a rut, there's particular things that I resort to doing, and that I feel is a holding pattern for me. So it's being very conscientious to break out of those patternings. acknowledging the patterns that keep me stuck and doing the opposite. So breaking out of time loops is changing routine, and that then changes the energy and the dynamic so that we're not fixated in this looping pattern, that this perpetual cycle that kind of keeps us in a lower frequency bandwidth. And so it can just be little things. It doesn't have to be massive things. Like if it, I'm just trying to think of examples, you know, perhaps you have your coffee first thing in the morning and, you know, change it so that you drink a glass of water before you have, I don't know, whatever it might be. I know, you know, just changing my walking routine, going to different places, going at different times, not watching that show or, you know, scrolling on social media, you know, whatever it is that is kind of a distraction or kind of keeps us in a holding pattern. It's like being conscientious of those things that we do and changing it up. And that has really helped to break out of that sort of looping cycle. Not to say that there aren't dense, what I've been calling dead end pockets, dense energy that usually lasts between a few hours up to maybe 24 hours. And how that was explained to me was that those dense pockets of feeling numb, nothing, kind of hopelessness, was very prevalent throughout March, and it was that was literally the process of facilitating completing a 3D timeline. So when you're in those dense pockets, it's like your energy sits in those lower timelines as it dissolves. And it's like how I was shown was that as we're attaining new frequency, our energy lights up and it dissolves the energy strands or cords that are connected to those lower 3D timeline experiences. And so what I was shown is in those pockets, write it out, don't try and fight it, just be conscientious of where your energy is holding itself in that moment and try and draw on kind of powering up your energy and to help dissolve it and to obviously make you feel more connected, um, and also kind of changing the fabric or the nature of reality around you. What else? What else? Okay, the final thing that, well, the whole reason that I was guided to do this video was obviously to cover off and catch up of where I haven't done any updates. But okay, so following on from those dead end dense pockets of energy, I went to bed one night feeling that energy and kind of doing this dialogue as I do with my higher self to ask, you know, what is the remedy? How can I, you know, snap out of this, or how can I change this in some way? And I felt a really beautiful, gentle, soft, but powerful energy ripple through me as a stream of consciousness information coming through. And it was so simple, maybe too simple perhaps, but it was basically sharing that the best way to feel reconnected, to feel inspired, to feel more like yourself, or the best version of yourself, is to engage in creative activities. So really, really simple. And I realized that I hadn't done that for quite some time. So of course, you know, I got with my paints, and that's my outlet. Is I like to sit with conscious intention and do artwork based on some sort of healing principle or some sort of manifestation principle. And this is something I've done for a very, very long time. And it's always helped sort of break out of those timeline loops or ruts. And I'll just try and give an example. Okay, yeah. So the first one was I felt very, very disconnected from my higher expression of self, my higher self. I felt very human, very in a lower state, probably in quite a negative state of mind. And I was like, how can I reconnect with the inspiration and the feeling and sensation of being able to um, dialogue with my higher self? And what came through was to create an image. Um, and I held I might do that again this year, a couple of times this year. I did hold a workshop last year called Creation Code. So it was like how to work with art and energy for the purpose of manifestation. But that's in essence what I was doing was I would sit in meditation and ask for a symbol that represented me connecting stronger with my higher self. Let's say, for example, so when I saw the image come through, I would start to paint it or draw it, and then I would sit with it for some time until it was finished. Once I created that piece of artwork, then I worked with almost like a merging process of bringing that symbol and the energy and the intention that it represents into my energy field. And I found as soon as I started doing that, that heaviness started to shift and lift. So I will go through it because they're the artworks that I've done for this particular month of the energy intuitive guidance. Okay, that's been a lot of information. I have no idea how long I've gone for because I haven't been timing it. But let's go into April because that was a big recap of where we've been. So let's talk about where we are and where we're heading. As as the 1st of April came in, the energy felt a lot more stabilized than it has. It felt a lot more grounded, and I heard very, very clearly, repeatedly the entire day, that April is the month of repair. So things that have been out of balance, things that have been out of our control, things that haven't been working, um, those things would get repaired this month. And this could be something recent. This could be something that's been going on for, months, years perhaps. So we're really looking at the energy themes of repair, rebuild, rebirth, of course. And to break it down more specifically, or how that looks or how that is facilitated, is a soul strengthening or embodiment coming in. So what I was, and the reason why I went through that lengthy explanation in the beginning was talking about what has taken place or has been in progress to prepare for where we are now. So strengthening our soul embodiment in physicality, which is going to then help us expand or have greater clarity, have greater confidence, strengthening our own masculine energy for action, for guided action. And I, one of the, so yeah, sorry. So strengthening our soul embodiment, strengthening our clarity, our confidence, that whole solar plexus alignment, and also our inspiration. So through all that, we'll start to inspire and rejuvenate us to find that movement and those steps forward. And of course, we're moving into the eclipse season, and I think that's going to be something that shouldn't be feared. I think that's something that should be embraced because I think it's going to give us that, it has that feeling of that sweep and momentum forward where things have been kind of paused and slowed down and held off. And I think in essence, what that is doing is being able to prepare us as the front runners, as the way showers, as the trailblazers. It's preparing us in advance to move through these very tricky this very tricky passageway months in advance before the collective go through their own process. And so to add on to that, I often know that when we go through these phases, it's always in a preparation to be in our highest level of embodiment, emanation, energy, and service, so that we can help support those as we navigate through these big shifts. Um, I just had this real sense of, I don't want to call it excitement. I think it's kind of a relief of like what we have been working towards for so many years is actually in progress right now. So it's kind of, it's huge to take in. And I've been getting this message since December last year, as I've been going through this process of editing my book, which has taken a lot longer than I would have liked, but I've sort of surrendered into the process that it's so much more than just writing, it's an energetic weaving. And as I was going through that process, it was like, wow, it was a real reflection piece of looking at all the things that I've been shown over the years and the challenges that would come for myself and for humanity, but also what's on the other side of that. And I think that's really important to bring up and to highlight, because if we can have an anchor point of why we're here and why we go through this, to remind ourselves on a daily basis if we need to, or a regular basis, however often that we need to, that can really help put things back into perspective. And I know that's something that always helps me, is going back, looking at the bigger perspective, and also using those future visions or insights or downloads to use as an anchor point to keep moving forward through more challenging times. So April, just to recap, a month of repair, rebuild, rebirth, stabilization, and renewal of energy and inspiration ultimately. I wasn't going to do this, but um, no, that's, oh, I can just briefly show you the artwork, the pieces of artwork I've been working with. I actually can't remember which one. That was Soul Self, bringing more Soul Self into the body. This one here was strengthening clarity and confidence, drive, and manifestation into physicality. And this one here was for inspiration, downloads, insights, and clarity of mind. So we'll go into those. So they'll be for the intuitive guidance. But before we get into that, I just would like to invite you all to join me. I'm going to do a quick guided process of, for those who haven't accessed a process of the code of the original blueprint, I'm going to facilitate that. So for those who may have gone through something, this may help to strengthen that, or to remind you of tapping into your own process. Or if you haven't gone through something like this and you feel guided to listen to the next part, this will be a guided process to access your original code for your soul blueprint. So find a space where you can get comfortable and relaxed, and we will start this process. Okay. So just finding a space where you can lie down or sit comfortably. And what I want you to do first off is just to take 3 very deep breaths. So gentle inhale and exhale as you allow yourself to connect more with your energy and your body, and just being able to connect in general of how you feel in the moment. So just breathing in and out. And with each breath, allowing yourself to become more in tune with the rhythm of your breath and your body and your energy and how they connect and unify. With each breath, allowing yourself to silence the mind and to have a greater sense of just feeling into your own unique energetic signature. As you take one last deep breath in and gently exhale out, I now want to invite you to become aware of a golden spiral of light that appears just above the top of the head. As you feel into this spiral of light and energy, knowing that it's here to help prepare, go through a process of unraveling, clearing, or disintegrating energy tethers, dense energies, or anything that doesn't belong to your unique vibration and signature. You may have specific intention of what you wish to unravel. You might just feel into the intuitive nature of the process as it unfolds for you. So, with the facilitation of your breath, just allowing that spiral of light to start to descend down in and around your energy field. And as it does, feeling that sensation of it unraveling, disconnecting old timelines, outdated or limited belief systems. Perhaps it's energy that has been stored in your field that doesn't belong to you or no longer serves you and who you're becoming. Just sit with that process or be with that process for a few moments, allowing it to work from the top of the head all the way down to the feet, almost witnessing, sensing, or seeing layers unraveling, easily and effortlessly starting to release. And as this process happens, it allows you to feel lighter, more grace and ease within your body. Like a shedding or a lifting of any burdensome situations, energies, or feelings of overwhelm, anxieties, fears. Unraveling what is not of you, of your original essence. You may want to take a deep breath as you feel that weightedness just drop and dissolve away. Stripping you back, being able to access your true energy, your true nature. You may feel sensations of energy buzzing through your body as you gain a greater access into your own essence. Once you've gone through the process of unraveling and disconnecting what no longer serves, what has come up to be dissolved and taken away, now allows you to access deeper within your own energy field, accessing your original code of your soul's blueprint. And as you do this now, just bringing your awareness and attention into the center of your heart, or perhaps just a little bit higher in the high heart, the center, or just the top of the chest. Feeling into this space, this is the place where this original code can be found and accessed now and at any time. And just taking a few moments for you to connect with it deeper. You may feel into it. You may see it as a color or a symbol. Just have an awareness of its presence. As you do, you may want to ask or inquire any questions of any specific things you would like to know or understand of how connecting with this will support you moving forward. Or you may just want to sit in and feel into the presence and into the stillness of connecting with that original code that holds all access to your soul, the blueprint for this lifetime, your true purpose and potential, and all that you've brought forth from many other incarnations to access throughout these times. With the remembrance that you have everything that you need and are very well equipped to move through these times on planet Earth right now, just from the pure access of this code that resides within you. Now, as you feel into it deeper, start to witness and experience the activation of that original code, either lighting up or expanding. You may feel the buzzing sensation as it starts to ripple through, allowing this energy of this activation to start to expand throughout your entire body, creating a new or renewed electrical, energetic grid system that can hold, maintain, and support a new frequency coming online, giving you direct access to this to be able to embody, hold, sustain, and maintain. And just feel it moving through your energy centers, moving up and down through the energy column, runs along the spinal column, moving into all of your cells, to all the different pockets and places throughout your body. Feeling yourself coming alive. As this energy now moves through all parts of your body, allowing it to restore vitality, physical health, and well-being. Allowing it to flow throughout the energy field, through the different layers, strengthening and supporting the emotional body, mental body, the astral body. Just feel and sense all of that energy lighting up, emanating, and also stabilizing and grounding, feeling it in very practical and tangible ways that you can work with and to access regularly. As you now start to take a few deep breaths, with the intention of grounding this energy into the physical reality for you to access regularly. To integrate and to assimilate. Just taking one last deep breath as you slowly and gently allow yourself to come back into the present moment. Feeling yourself coming back into the physical body. Coming back with vitality, greater clarity, and strengthening your soul connection. Whenever you're ready, just slowly and gently allowing yourself to come back. Whenever you're ready, just opening your eyes. Okay. Thank you for joining me and journeying with me through that process. I would love to hear what you experienced and how you felt throughout that. I could certainly feel the strong energies as I was guiding that process. So I hope that you enjoyed that and got something really supportive from that. So for the next part, we're going to go into the intuitive insights for April. So we will start off. If you're new to this channel and you haven't, there will be in the description box and on the thumbnail, there will be the 3 images. So really, it's just about tuning in and choosing which of these images draws your attention the most, and that will be your intuitive guidance. So I hope that you enjoy. So this is the intuitive insights for April. So this will be for this particular image artwork. This will be A, and it's probably 2. Oh, there we go. So if you've chosen this one here, this is your insights for April. All right. So I'm going to pull them. Pull them. Hang on. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to rainbow dragon. Okay. Somehow knew that card was going to come up because I'm not sure of the interpretation. I'm not sure of my interpretation of that one. Energy balance. Okay, so we've got a theme happening here. A lot of rainbow energy. So the first thing that comes, yeah, okay, cool, and lightning. So the first thing that comes to mind as I look at the themes of these cards that have dropped out. So I'll just show you. We've got the rainbow dragon, energy balance, and lightning. So as I look at these, what comes through to me immediately is like an activation of the rainbow body. the, the the rainbow dragon is, and the energy balance. So we're looking at all the energies and colors of the light spectrum, all the frequencies of the light spectrum coming in, and it feels like they're working through the energy field, and mm, I'm losing it. It was right on the tip of my tongue, and now it's not so clear. Um, it's yeah, expression, movement. So throughout the month of April, I feel like what's going to come into highlight is a lot of energy clearing, alignment, and balance, but for the purpose of activation and bringing in your highest potential frequency. The rainbow, the dragon energy, what that speaks to me is dragons always come to me as a protector through turbulent times. So if you're feeling as though you're finding it hard to find a steady footing, if you feel very ungrounded or a bit lost or confused, I would I would encourage you to work or call upon dragon energy to help restore and balance your energy field, your life force energy, the chakra system, all those things to help um, get get more. Yeah, there's this feeling of when I feel into this intuitively, there's a real wonkiness in this energy. It feels like it's off balance. It's um, swaying side to side. It's kind of here nor there. So it feels like what the remedy is or what wants to come through is this kind of more stabilizing energy. So it would help. Yeah, I would encourage you to call on dragon energy if you're familiar with that, or anything that you call upon that represents helping bringing in a protective and stabilization energy to you. Also, when I look in the energy balance, card in particular, there's people doing yoga poses. So that really stood out to me. So it might be working with, what I want to say is working with different tools, perhaps that you haven't before. So maybe if you haven't worked with yoga or dance or something, it really feels like working with the physical body as well. So it's not just the energy component, it's working with the energy component with the physicality. So whether that's stretching, movement, yoga, that's going to help bring a lot more strength and stability, and this, because ultimately what wants to come through is like almost a lightning bolt of energy. So it's like you're being prepped for that download, that inspiration, that higher frequency that's going to sort of catapult you forward through the month of April and beyond. So it's this kind of feeling of being able to prepare and support yourself in the best way possible for this. So this is a very sort of personal energy reflection reading, I feel. So which is kind of in quite indicative, because that piece of artwork was really designed around strengthening and stabilizing a sort of more new masculine energy for drive and strengthening confidence. So that might be something to work on. So in relation to the stomach area, it might be strengthening. You might be looking at things like health in particular, like improving gut health, or clearing out the stomach, whether that's energetically or physically, or it might be looking at changing foods or vitamins. So there's this real physical theme that keeps wanting to come through for this particular reading, April. All for the purpose of holding a higher frequency. Let's move into the other cards and see what they want to express. Just seeing if there's also, when I look at the lightning card of the new energy, that, oh, interesting. The date 15th of April just flashed into my head as I looked at that. So we're looking at halfway through the month. So perhaps for the first half of the month, there's this like preparation, building strength, almost like building core strength, whether that's physically, energetically, or both. So to prepare you to hold this new frequency of light coming through, which is obtaining more of an equilibrium and balance between your own masculine and feminine. So it's that third energy, it's that golden energy, it's that trinity energy, if you will, that wants to come through. Um, because there is this energy upgrade is taking you into I'm stumbling over my words now. This energy that's coming through wants to lay down the foundation for soul work, collaboration work. I'm just as I'm feeling into this, I'm seeing images of people gathering, connecting, brainstorming, working on projects. Like I'm seeing a table, a round table. There's like 3 other people sitting at it, and they've got pens, notepads, computers, and it feels like they're working towards this project. So I feel like there's a 3 sequence process that's occurring for you. So we're probably going far beyond the month of April, but this is like, I guess this is coming through to give you a wider vantage point to understand why you're going through what you're going through now and what it's preparing you for. Is working on, no, I just got the words, working on big things, working on innovative projects. This is something, what I'm getting is this is not something that you're not aware of. This is something that has been in your awareness for quite some time. It just hasn't come into fruition. And there, I feel like there's a lot of, there's a lot of energy of frustration around it not getting off the ground and not moving in your favor for quite some time. So going back to the guidance or supporting the physicality as well as the energetic and moving out of this kind of destabilizing energy, this wonky energy, that is like preparing a solid foundation for you to become into resonance and alignment so that these things can start to take place. So step 1, taking care of your energy and your physical. Step 2, being open and prepared for this kind of activation to occur somewhere around the middle of the month, which will bring in not only the insights, and it feels like bringing in very specific pieces of the puzzle that you haven't yet been able to access as like as key pieces. So I'm being shown like a pie chart, and there's like this final piece like dropping into place. So it's waiting for that final piece to come in, energetically speaking or information wise, that then will set the tone for bringing in the manifestation of these other key collaborators, these other 2 people coming in to be able to support this this project, this movement, this work moving forward. Oh, okay, we're on a roll now. Sorry, it was a bit wonky in the beginning, but I guess that's perhaps indicative of perhaps what you're feeling. I'm making an assumption there. I don't know. That's just based off what I'm reading into. None of the, we get acceptance. All right, we have the acceptance card here. Oh, that's been such a theme. First thing that comes to mind with the acceptance card is like, pick your battles wisely. And I don't mean that in a way to invoke fear, but it's like, I mean internal battles. I'm not talking about external. I'm talking about, yeah, I'm not talking about external. I'm talking about internal. So we've got acceptance, surrender, and crucifixion. So I almost feel like it goes acceptance, crucifixion, surrender. So it feels like with this card, I feel like there is this feeling of internal conflict and battle. So going back to what I was saying about bringing in this new piece of the puzzle, the energy, the balancing of your own masculine, feminine energies, I feel like there's 2 pieces or parts of you that have been in conflict, which is kind of preventing this harmonization to occur. So the guidance that comes in around that is just to, first of all, I would say to be able to identify exactly where that inner conflict is coming from. So it's like recognizing the pattern of like, oh, I'm constantly beating myself up about not being productive, or constantly beating myself up of not actioning, or whatever it may be. And it's working with that particular pattern that you can identify, and just giving a greater acknowledgement to that, being more compassionate with that, and almost like breaking the cycle through love and compassion, rather than the original MO, which might be berating yourself. So it's like coming at it from a different angle. Instead of beating yourself up, giving yourself compassion, going, wow, that's actually a really challenging piece for me. That's something, that's a hurdle I haven't, or an obstacle I haven't been able to overcome within myself. And what's coming through is you may want to write or dialogue, journal, what that piece has felt like for you, and almost like this kind of ritualistic being able to write it down, let it out one final time, whether it's burn it or bury it or dispose of it in a safe way, of course. But just really letting go this inner conflict, this crucifixion energy that doesn't really support where you're heading. So it's like giving it one final clean out, and giving it softness, gentleness, and compassion, and really surrendering that okay, that's where it ties back in, because I was seeing that pie chart again. That aspect of whatever you have been in that inner conflict about, is by letting that go allows that final piece to drop into play for you. So knowing, I guess, having the understanding that by, that is an important part of the path, the work, to be able to work with that component of the inner conflict that has limited you in some way, and just, I was going to say just love the shit out of it, just surrender into it, acknowledge that that has been a part of your path. You might want to do what I was talking about in the earlier part of the video, trace back its origins. Like, where does that come from? Is that an early childhood thing? Is that a past life thing? Is that, something around like ancestral patterning? You may want to seek out a practitioner who can help support you with that particular thing if you aren't making any headway. Or I would suggest sometimes just speaking to a friend, being able to, if it's something that you've never externalized or spoken out loud, sometimes just talking to someone who can be a soundboard can really be enlightening, to shed light on it. It's like, in the middle of the conversation and you're sharing something, and all of a sudden you get your answer, you get your aha moment. It doesn't feel like it feels like it's coming to a point where it wants to resolve itself. It wants to be healed. It wants to change form in some way. So just know that that is an important part that is in progress for you for the month of April, which is bringing about justice, balance, and equilibrium, and honorable choices. That's the next card that has jumped out. So this may have been, what's come to me is this may have been really highlighted over the last couple of days, over the most recent full moon. That inner conflict or berating or whatever may have been the final push to come up and release around that, because obviously Libra represents, Libra is justice energy. So who knows, you may have already come to the aha moments and been able to resolve whatever that is. Let's see what other things. Yeah, putting the past to rest. We've got we've got judgment and justice card. So putting the past to rest, being able to climb the stair step of evolution. Yes, that's what I was waiting for. So yeah, big cycle completion for you this April. It's going to take you into a more steady, stable, and inspirational pathway opening up. But with that, we've got the Fool, so which is the beginning of it, a new journey, spontaneity, taking chances, and being bold, stepping outside of your comfort zone potentially. Oh yes, And then we've got the Ace of Coins, which is new career move. So going back to what I was talking about the projects, the collaboration, it may be a new promotion, a new job, but there's some sort of new beginning around this work aspect or component of your life, which feels very refining, a self-defining moment, and brings in a lot more, I want to say stability, but also fulfillment, whatever it is, wherever it is that you're moving towards in that. It feels like innovation too. I think there's going to be a lot of innovation coming through it, especially over the next few years. I think that's where we're all being called. So we've got the Seven of Swords, ego, internal politics. I would just say with that card, to show you there, I would say with that card, don't allow the lower mind to talk you out of taking that leap, that step, that leap of faith, that jumping out into uncharted waters. I think that's the ego's job, is to try and keep us safe, right? You know, there's nothing wrong with the ego, but it's if you allow that to come in too intensely or too strongly, you will find that it's going to prevent you from a lot of abundance and success, windfall, new skills, new talents. So I love the 8. We've got the 8 of Coins coming up, and the 8 really is the abundance number. I'm a life path 8, so I know all about it, but I know that within the 8 frequency and energy, and that's how I'll close off this reading, in the 8 energy and frequency, sometimes we have to go through a lot of lessons of what it is not to bring in what is. So, you know, with abundance, finance, or you know, sometimes we have to go through the process of hardship until we get to the higher octave of what the essence of abundance or 8 frequency is, which, funnily enough, just as a side note, we're moving into this year is a universal 7 year. And so next year will be a universal 8 year. So I feel like, going back to what I was saying in the beginning of the video, I think there's a lot of influx of abundance that is starting to be accessible to us, and we just have to be open to not allowing our ego or our limited mind to block that potential, but just to feel into it and to be in a space of receptivity, and not allowing the mind to get in the way of how, why, when, where, but just, you know, calling that forth and being in a space of receptivity and gratitude. So anyway, I've gone on a bit of a tangent. I hope that that reading has helped you in some way, has given you an aha moment. And not only that, but I'm wishing you a wonderful April, and whatever exciting endeavors come your way. So that was A, and we're going to move now into B. So if you've chosen this particular image, this is B, intuitive guidance insights for the month of April and beyond, or whenever you find this. So I'm just going to clear the energy, making sure that we clear the last reading out of the way and move into this one. See what wants to come through. Pull a couple before I go through what's coming up. Oh, nice. Okay. I was curious if there was going to be themes. Sometimes there are themes, sometimes they're all very, very different. So far we have the Tower, so discovery and changes and adjustments, and followed by the Fool. Interesting. There's a lot of feminine energy when I look at this card. That's the first thing that I've noticed. Each, oh, sorry, not chance, change. A lot of change. Fast moving energy of change, but there's also a very feminine energy. This reading. So as I say that, what comes to mind, and we've got Eight of Cups, contemplation. Just going to feel into I feel like a very I want to say surface level, practical adjustments and changes happening in the physical world throughout the month of April. But it's also, I feel with this is, I want to come back into that feminine energy component because I feel like it's a strengthening of the feminine qualities that you have that you may have overlooked as not strengths but weaknesses, and seeing them from a different perspective. This is, I'm not getting this from the cards, it's just what's coming to me. And so it's really about honoring the need at times to open up and be vulnerable, and see that as a strength, not a weakness. Being able to be in a space of introspection, contemplation, and it's okay. It's bringing through the wise feminine energy. It's like there's this wise sort of crone energy. So this might be very specific for one person, or it might represent for many. But I'm just feeling into, yeah. I just keep seeing images of like wise women, or older woman. I'm seeing owl, which also is a sign of wisdom. So a lot of, I would say, a lot of strength of wisdom coming through in this whirlwind of a lot of changes happening on a very physical home level. So the Tower card, the Tower card, who doesn't know the Tower card? To me, this particular Tower card isn't the normally as read of like, oh, the Tower and everything abruptly changes. I feel like this is known adjustments and changes that you know that you need to make in your life that are coming into fruition through the month of April. This is not something that is going to shock you or come out of left field. This is something that you've been waiting for to make adjustments and changes. And I think that's where it ties into that wisdom of, you've been patient, you have been almost calling in support and change. As I'm totally going into some realm now, but I feel like there's a lot of, when I say very physical, practical changes, whether it's changes in the home, adjustments, renovations, fixing things, that's the kind of changes and adjustments that I feel that this particular card brings. Things that are going to make your life easier. Things that are going to take weight or pressure off your mind. And it's this whole theme of April of things resolving themselves, repairing themselves, fixing themselves. So I feel like that's held a lot of mental space for you recently. And so as that sort of shifts and changes, I feel like there's a lot more support that you allow to come in and around your life. We've got, followed by that, we've got the Fool. So the Fool represents stepping off into uncharted territory, taking new pathways, new leaps and bounds, going into starting like a whole new cycle, a new beginning. And I feel like there's a real sense of curiosity with this, but there's also trepidation. And it's almost like, will I, if I step out off the ledge, will I, will I land safely? And almost want to say, in direct response to that, yes, you will. That taking that leap of faith is going to lead you into a greater momentum, more of a rapid pace, and being able to tangibly, being able to materialize more tangibly in your own physical reality. And I feel like what has led you to these things coming up is there's been a big release or change, a type of liberation that has occurred that has allowed you to spread your wings and, kind of move into a more expansive state of who you are. And this has come through a lot of, I would say this card to me has a very heavy tone to it. It's like this contemplation, this it feels like a heavy grieving card, letting go of the past, reevaluating your emotional levels, your relationships, key relationships in your life, how they've brought you to this place, and how you can take going back to the wisdom, take the wisdom of what you've learned through these key components of what you've been letting go and releasing. That feels like this very intense release phase that's been occurring that has led you into this, what I call a state change, where this is allowing practical support that is changing your life for the better, that's freeing up a lot of burdensome energy for you to be able to be more free, more expressive, take chances, and step into a new pathway that's opening up and unfolding for you. Let's see what these Magdalene Oracle card have in store for you. Oh, we've got love. Oh, beautiful. Liberation. Oh, this is getting beautiful. With a different tone altogether on the second row. Love, liberation. This feels outside of your conscious awareness, I feel. Whatever this is. I want to take one or two more cards just to paint a better picture or story. They're coming. One more. Come on, one more. Love and liberation. Liberation through love. Love, acceptance, self, internal embrace. All right, beautiful. So this speaks of having greater access to the frequency of love, and that can mean many things for many different people. This could be just feeling that sense of love within yourself, a deeper level of love and appreciation and admiration for self, but this can also speak about love, connection, relationships, romantic partnerships. So take it as it applies to you, or it could mean all of that. But I'm going to work my way back. So we have the internal embrace card, and this one is very much about loving and embracing the polarity aspects of yourself. So looking at your light and your shadow and kind of merging and bringing that into unity, into oneness. And by going through that process, which I feel like you've been in the depths of for many years, I just want to say that this is not a new thing for you, but it's like being able to come into that 0 point of neutrality within yourself and really reflect on being able to love and appreciate all the qualities, whether we pose them negative or positive, all the different aspects of self. It's through that we find that space of liberation. Look at the liberation card. And getting to know yourself at a deeper level, and accessing this greater love frequency, which then changes the nature of how we perceive ourselves, the nature of our reality, to be able to look through life through the vision that I'm getting is someone looking through life through like as they say, rose-colored glasses, but that's not exactly what I mean. It's not the terminology that I mean. It's like literally these heart-shaped glasses. So being able to perceive life in a new way through the lens of love. And this is not a false perception. This is actually seeing the nature of reality, or the true nature of reality, through this vibrational shift and change occurring within you. And so through that process opens you up to vibrate at that state of love, which brings in more loving, softer, gentle experiences. And I would say probably more than what you've experienced up until this point in your lifetime is inviting and allowing that in. So whether that comes through friendships, connections, romantic love, or if you're already in a partnership, deepening that expression of love and really appreciating the beauty that allows to unfold through the newness of it. So there's a real sense of renewal, honoring that liberation. Oh, that's kind of really beautiful. I feel like that what I've just shared is something that's not kind of in your own awareness. And I guess that follows on because we were talking about that contemplation card, the Eight of Cups, and the reflection over previous relationships and what they've brought you. When we get to the end of the cycle, I truly believe that when we evaluate an old cycle moving out of that, we take the best parts with us into the new new journey. Is okay. So we've just got the 10 of Cups, which is a blessed love life. So definitely feels like love is on the horizon. Supportive love. Oh, look at the star too. Hopes, inspirations. So what comes after the Tower is the Star. So we've got it all happening here. Yeah, really moving into a greater space of love and appreciation, and having that reflected in your reality, in your life. So this could be change, a lot of changes on the home front. You could be moving in with someone, someone could be moving in with you. You might be going away. It just feels like there's a definite change up in routine, and being able to access living out your dreams, or the beginning phases of accessing living out your dreams. Oh, this is such a stunning reading. Really has the feeling of like a happy, balanced home, fulfilled experience. What else do I want to say about that? It feels quite magical. So this may come into fruition through the month of April, or it might just be the beginning stages and phases of that. But it feels like you've worked really hard to get to this point, to this place. So you should be incredibly proud of where you're at and how far you've come. Let's see if there's one more card before we wrap up. Funny, sometimes they just fly out, and other times they feel like they don't want to. Here we go. Transformation, Phoenix. So this really ties in with the theme of April. So a real rebirth, transformation, rising from the ashes. You may have gone through some really challenging and tricky cycles leading up until this point. But just to recap, we've got the Tower, we've got change, we've got the Fool. So I think we're talking about practical changes that are going to ease or release burdens from you. Things around the home, things being changed, people coming in to help support you, that's going to free you up so you can start to move down a new pathway, accessing a new timeline. And this is due to all the release work of letting go of the past and this deep space of reflection and contemplation, previous relationships and how they've facilitated getting you to where you are today, opening you up to being able to come into that 0 point, that space of neutrality, and accessing greater love within your own essence, within your own frequency, and having that displayed back to you, whether that's exploration of a deepening connection or relationship or intimate connection or new relationships coming in, but it's setting up for a solid foundation for happy home life. We've got the 10 of Cups, we've got the Star, so it's reaching purpose, passion, fulfillment, and highest inspiration and embodiment. So, and potentially going on a trip or spending some quality time and allowing it's like taking in the fruits of your labor. So really profound transformation happening here in the month of April. I feel very excited for you, so I hope that that's resonated. I hope that that's helped support you, and just sending you much love for this month. All right, thank you. That was for C. So we're going to move into lucky glass. We're going to move into card C for intuitive insights. This one down. There we go. All right, I'm just going to clear the energy. Okay, all right. So final card, if you've chosen this one, this is card C. And this is the intuitive insights for the month of April and beyond. All right, so let's see what this month has in store for you. All right, 5 of Coins. Finances, budgeting lessons, working with what you've got to accumulate more is what comes through with that card. I'll show you in a second. Just going to pull a few more. So we're setting off a theme around finances, budget, money, resources. Okay, and we've got the 2 of Coins. Ooh, okay, it's definitely a different theme that we have happening here. So we've got the 5 of Coins. We've got the 2 of Coins, which is cash flow. We've got unexpected revelations, 3 of Swords, and then we have status surge. So the Ace of Swords. Sorry, I just had a moment there. All right, so the first sort of insights that come to me is I want to, the unexpected revelation card, I feel like should come at the beginning, because I feel like that has to do with, and that's not in its traditional sense, because I know in its traditional sense, the 3 of Cups represents kind of like betrayal or in relationships. But this to me feels like it's unexpected revelation on a work level. So something that comes in out of left field that is leaving budgeting short. So this might be on a personal level, it might be on a work level, but it feels like there's something that happens abruptly that's unexpected that kind of leaves you in this, do I have enough? What am I going to do here? This is temporary pause or momentarily like something's been taken away from me. Now I need to juggle my resources, move them around a bit to be able to manage. But what I feel this unexpected revelation and this kind of juggling of finances is actually doing is it's opening up a pathway or a stream of new income, new abundance, new resources to come through for you, because the Two of Coins represents two pathways or two streams of income that comes in. So one could be your job and then starting a business or a project, but there's multiple streams. So I feel like this unexpected revelation and changing things around is really opening up to a higher potential and opportunity for more pathways for the universe to bring you in abundance and financial rewards. And there's a status surge, so I feel like that has to do with something that is more inspiring, more passionate to you, something that may push you out of your comfort zone potentially. It may put you into into the public eye, or doing something. It might be on YouTube, it might be putting yourself out there in some way and talking about your path, your journey, what has brought you to opening up this new stream. So there's this real theme about something coming through that potentially is unexpected. I want to pull one or two more cards around that. Something that's coming through unexpectedly around finances, but ultimately it's putting you in a really good position so that you can have multiple streams moving forward, and also participating in doing something that you truly love, that's going to, just trying to find the right words, sort of dropped in, something that is going to enable you to be a way shower in your own right moving forward, because it does have this real air about people watching you on a screen, or people being inspired by what it is that you're doing. And this is just dropped into, this may not be something new. This may be something that you have attempted many times and it hasn't got off the ground, but it's like coming back around at it from a new lens, from a new perspective, or being prompted or guided to rebrand a business, reopen a business, or doing what you've kind of done before but in a new way. And it's like all of a sudden what wasn't or hasn't been moving starts to take off. You start, there's this real sense of flow, not flow, sorry, I was looking at the card. There's this real sense of something being much more visibly seen than it has been done before, which improves your strength and confidence. It empowers you. We've got the Emperor, so masculine influence and power. Whatever this resurgence is of this status, it feels like it brings in, I almost want to say, more money than what you had, bit more abundance. I don't like to speak money terms. More abundance than what has been, or what has been your go-to. There's this real, it feels like this pivotal redirect that is allowing you to step into a greater sense of yourself and power. But this is this is like a rebranding or redoing something in a new way, a new fashion. Like, I don't think this is like starting something from scratch. This is something that's already in play, but it's like there's a new energy that's infused into it. It's given new life that allows there's this real sense of being visible, to be seen. It's like before it wasn't seen, people didn't know or understand, and now there's a new level of visibility because the collective, I ultimately want to say, because the collective is now ready where they weren't before. Perhaps you're one of those people that is like very ahead of the game, time traveler, someone from the future. And perhaps people haven't understood your creation, your expertise, your offerings, whatever that might be. Maybe that's been a bit futuristic, but now it's almost like the collective are catching up, and now's your time to shine, to step into that power and be, look at the Fool again. So this is real Oh, this is so beautiful. Okay, cool. That's beautiful cards coming through now. I've just completely lost my train of thought. um, yeah, your time to shine, stepping into your own power and being able to, we've got the Fool again. So starting a new pathway, but this is like, I almost want to say reinfusing or strengthening a pathway that has already had a foundation laid, but it's like kind of bringing it to life. There's a sense of bringing it in to life with the Fool, stepping into new horizons, new ventures, beginnings, renewed beginnings. We've also got the Empress. So I've got the Emperor and the Empress. We do too. We've got a matching pair. So fertility and sensuality. That's a real um, the words have just got right out of my head. Ripe, fertile ground of receptivity energy. I associate with the Empress. Obviously, it's fertility, it's rebirth, but it's also allowing this state of flow to come and kind of fill up your cup and be filled with it's very beautiful energy. It's I see a lot of pink and gold frequencies around whatever it is that you're working with. So it has this very soft feminine component to it. It's very nurturing, it's very loving, it's very purposeful, it's uplifting. I'm sorry, I'm just feeling into the energy of what this actual business or project is. But we have the Nine of Coins coming out towards the end here, which is good fortune, and that's financial abundance. So it feels like I'm going to pull some more cards, see if there's other stuff that wants to come out. But just to recap, we've got this unexpected revelation. So this kind of shake up to do with finance, abundance, work, which is opening up new pathways to reignite something that you've already attempted to do that hasn't really taken off in the way that it was intended originally. And now is the time for you to kind of step forward, to shine, to be seen, to be presented in new ways. That's ultimately going to give you confidence. It's going to boost your personal power, but it's, you know, it's got this soft, gentle, it's got both. It's a real balance of masculine and feminine energies to start new beginnings, but it's like reigniting these new beginnings to allow more abundance, resources, and yeah, abundance resources to come in and to really ground and anchor, to give you the life that you deserve is basically what I want to say to that. I feel like you're the type of person that has worked incredibly hard your entire life. And I think there's been a lot of trials and tribulations that have been almost, I want to say, heartbreaking or devastating in the past, just to get this creation off the ground. And I want to say that that wasn't all in vain. You know, that there was reason for that, even at times if we don't understand what the purpose or reasoning is. There is a timing to that, and sometimes, you know, we're tested on many levels. And then when the time is right, it's like, you know, people think, you know, it's like going back to that old saying that people think, look at some people think that they're overnight success, but they don't know the backstory of what got them to where they are. You know, there's a lot of tears and trials and tribulations, and that's kind of the energy that I'm feeling that has the story that has led to this point and where you are now. So don't let whatever unexpected revelation that comes in wobble you. Know that there's a bigger picture and purpose that is unfolding in your life as we speak, that is repositioning you so that you can step out in a new and big way. I think for some of you, I keep getting this, I see the YouTube icon. Doesn't necessarily have to be YouTube, it could be like TikTok, but it's definitely a video platform, like things being shared out on video platforms. So it's like maybe being more visible and taking steps to become courageous to be seen in that way, because I know that's a big hurdle for a lot of people to overcome, is this whole thing of being seen. Okay. I feel like I've been shuffling and shuffling and shuffling. Nothing's coming out. Let me see if I'll go back to these other cards of these. The Sacred Power. Maybe that's it. Change, rest, truth, and retreat. Okay. Change, rest, truth, retreat. I'll show you the cards. See, perhaps something jumps out at you. Is the change. So the change of the seasons, that could be very indicative of where we are right now, because we are, I know, in the northern hemisphere you're moving into spring. Down here in the southern hemisphere we're moving into autumn. So it's the change in the cycles of the season that are, I want to say, that are supporting you moving through this change. Truth, I think this is more about owning your own truth, your personal identity, the truth of who you really are, and removing any masks or any limitations to the true you being seen. And then we've got the rest and retreat card. So that to me says, if you can change your routine, take some time away, even if it's an hour out of your day, to spend some time to retreat or rest in nature, get by the water, get by the ocean, get by the mountains, wherever it is your place, your special place, that helps you find a sense of peace and balance. I think that will be really supportive as you move through a lot of these changes and process, what has been and where you're moving into, because I had this real sense when I feel into it of like this relief and overwhelm. It's a combination of relief and overwhelm of, wow, I've come this far and this is like, finally coming into fruition. So that's where the relief component comes in, of like, oh, it's finally paid off, that sort of feeling. But on the flip side of that, there is this kind of stepping out of your comfort zone or overwhelm of like, oh, well, how am I going to be received by others? And what I would say to that is, remain true to who you are. Keep it as simple as that. Oh, okay, I'm going to just get one more card and I'm going to wrap up, because my throat is now quite sore from all this talking. Okay, I have no idea how long this video has been, but I have a feeling we're on like 2-hour mark. So yeah, okay. So we've got little children and serendipity. So 2 beautiful cards. A lot of reds, oranges, and blues. So very sort of material world, practicality, lower 3 chakra colors coming in. But we've also got the Star of Inspiration. So the serendipity card talks about being in the natural state of your own flow and allowing the serendipitous or the synchronistic events of connections and signs and synchronicities show up in your life to guide you and path you. So if you're going through that, oh, how will I be received, or whatever comes up for you in this process of moving through these changes, just allow the universe to be your guiding light through helping you navigate through that. And the final card, the little children, is have a playful attitude. Children don't have any sort of inhibitions of perceptions of how people receive them. You know, they just are. They are in that state of joy or creativity or play, and that's that childlike innocence and qualities that we kind of lose as we move into adulthood. So coming back to that childlike um, lightness, playfulness, joyfulness, and allowing that essence to kind of shift your vibration and allow you to enjoy this part. I think you really deserve where you're moving into. And so with that, you deserve the very, very best. So I wish you a wonderful April and what is to come and what you're moving through. I hope that this message has helped support or resonates for you in some capacity. Thank you so much thank you for everyone who has watched this if you've got this far. I am doing individual sessions, so if you feel that you need support, details of how to connect with me for personal sessions will be in the description box below. If not, thank you so much for being here and listening and being a part of this. I so appreciate each and every one of you. And I'm wishing everyone a wonderful reset, repair, rebirth month of April and sending much, much love. Until next time, I'll connect with you all soon. Bye bye.